Senators of Canada. I am JP Biker. That's right. I'm an AI construct created by the author of this video, who has provided it to you as a concerned citizen of Canada. I am AI, but the content of this video comes from RI. That means real people. What I'm going to speak to you here comes directly from the transcript of the arguments against Bill C-9 by MPs in the Canadian Parliament on Monday, March 23. The creator of this video used AI to extract from those original transcripts summary statements made by those MPs and is making them readily available to you through my mouth, so that, in case you missed all the discussion that went on that day, you will have a convenient way to hear it here. This video's creator and thousands across Canada are asking you to carefully listen to the points made and make the decision to stop this bill before it does the damage in Canada that we think will result if it passes. In short, we are asking you to stop this bill. So here in quick succession are the many reasons that were articulated that day for why this bill is not good for Canada. The bill wants to remove a 50-year-old religious defense from the criminal code without consulting faith communities or civil liberty experts. Over 350 Muslim organizations, 500 churches, and 44 rabbis expressed deep concern that removing this defense would have a chilling effect on religious discourse. Constituents feel the bill represents an attack on faith organizations, and that they do not trust the government's assurances. The bill introduces vague and subjective standards that chill lawful speech and empower government overreach. The vital role faith groups play in community services, such as food banks and youth ministries, could be hindered by the removal of legal protections. There was a lack of consultation with major religious bodies like the United Church of Canada, the Anglican Church, and Orthodox rabbis. MPs' offices have received an unprecedented volume of messages from residents fearing the erosion of religious freedom. Existing criminal code sections, 318 and 320, already cover hate speech, and that the issue is a failure of enforcement, not a lack of law. There is an insidious nature of self-censorship that would occur if the bill is implemented. The bill has created a politicized atmosphere around the issue and caused division within Canadian society. The bill will further cause the government to lose the trust of faith communities across Canada. The remarks by the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture, suggesting parts of the Bible are clearly hateful, raises concerns among Canadians regarding the government's true intent behind this bill and other bills with censorship themes. There are multiple petitions from Canadians alarmed that removing safeguards could criminalize the sharing of sacred texts. The bill makes it look like the government intends to weaponize the definition of hate to silence religious speech it disapproves of. There are already international examples where police have investigated individuals for quoting Holy Scripture, suggesting a similar trend could occur in Canada. Religious freedom for one is religious freedom for all. The state must not decide which beliefs are legitimate. An MP questioned whether this bill will actually help law enforcement or just create confusion for officers, given that hate crime laws already exist. Police have said clearly that what they need is for the government to fix broken bail policies, not to create new speech-related offenses. Bill C-9 is a censorship bill that tramples on the foundational principles of our country. The government's anti-faith agenda has given social license to anti-Semitic attacks and even the burning of over 120 churches. For believers, faith is an essential part of personal integrity, and the government is simply ignoring that reality. This government is moving to criminalize the utterance of words from the Bible and other holy texts. The antidote to hate is more speech and open debate, not state-approved truths or censorship. This bill is redundant because Canada already has mechanisms to protect against hate speech. One MP said that they were personally told that they should be imprisoned for quoting scripture in their role as a youth leader. They observed that this is exactly the kind of overreach this bill encourages. Bill C-9 seeks to criminalize lawful speech, sincerely held religious beliefs, and ordinary public discourse. The government stayed silent on the burning of over 100 churches while lecturing Canadians about hate. The love language of the Bible, including the Book of Romans, is being unwisely targeted as hateful by this government. Removing the good faith exemption is unnecessary and unwisely motivated, and it is creating fear among diverse faith communities. This bill will make Canadians feel they have to walk on eggshells instead of engaging freely in civil society. The government has dismissed religious leaders as misinformed. This only insults entire communities that have legitimate concerns about this bill. This bill is just the latest example of government overreach, like the use of the Emergencies Act, and it gives Canadians good reason to distrust their own government. Bill C-9 is a direct threat to freedom of religion and freedom of speech in Canada. This bill is illiberal progressivism in action, a form of socialism that seeks to silence political opponents. The government is using activist networks to steadily expand the list of topics that are off-limits for public debate. By stripping away safeguards, this bill risks making the entire hate speech law unconstitutional. Free speech is a foundational value, and the price of freedom is sometimes hearing opinions we may find repugnant. Bill C-9 is part of a broader trend to increase government control over what citizens can say and see online. Inciting violence is already illegal, and the government should focus on violent crime instead of inventing new speech crimes. The government is misusing the idea of separation of church and state, and is now driving in the religious lane where it does not belong. One MP said that over 600 people came out to their town hall, which shows how deeply Canadians are worried about the assault on their civil liberties. This bill lets the state define which religious beliefs are acceptable, creating a ready-made tool for future legal repression. These vague and subjective thresholds for hate will create a chilling effect, forcing clergy and faith leaders to self-censor. Faith leaders are afraid that their traditional sermons could be twisted and misinterpreted as hate speech under this bill. Instead of regulating belief and speech, the government should be prioritizing meaningful issues. Bill C-9 is a ruse to undermine civil liberties and a violation of the proper separation of church and state. Past high-profile hate speech cases have failed because of prosecutorial decisions, not because Canada lacks legislation. The government is trying to dictate what is preached from the pulpit, echoing the behavior of authoritarian regimes. The provisions in this bill about hate symbols and access to worship are already redundant under existing law. The government has even limited debate on this censorship bill, effectively silencing millions of religious Canadians. They have been silent on church burnings and synagogue shootings, while focusing on restricting speech. Canada's Catholic bishops have warned that removing the good faith exemption creates uncertainty and the threat of imprisonment for people of faith. This bill will create a chill effect, targeting good neighbors and churchgoers instead of violent repeat offenders. This bill is an assault on the freedoms of anyone who dares to think differently from the government. This bill is really bad legislation because it provokes a divisive fight among people who should be united in ending hatred. The bill is redundant, discretionary, and confusing, and it will make it harder to use proven tools like Section 319 of the Criminal Code. The Supreme Court of Canada, in cases like Keegstra, has already shown how to prosecute hate crimes while respecting the Charter, so this new law is unnecessary. Bill C-9 creates a discretionary web of conduct that may or may not be criminal, leaving everyone in a state of legal uncertainty. Requiring Attorney General approval for prosecutions is a small improvement, but it does not fix the many faults of this bill. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association has called this bill a blunt instrument that history suggests will be turned against the very people it is supposed to help. This law will impede freedom of assembly and rightful protest because it does not give clear boundaries for law enforcement. Canadians should worry about wrongful arrests and overreach by law enforcement, and past RCMP actions in British Columbia show these fears are not theoretical. This legislation will waste police resources, waste court time, and tie people up in knots through wrongful prosecutions. The bill is poorly drafted, and government members should rue the day they forced it through Parliament. Instead of passing this flawed law, we should be using Section 319 of the Criminal Code to stop real hate crimes. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I know this has been long, but please consider these words I've just spoken. Take them to heart and take action to block Bill C-9. Let's ride on to bigger and better things for Canada.